Hi, my name is Ahmad Tahani and this is my first videocast in English. In this video, I'm going to show you how you would be able to develop React table, a full customizable React table. For example, you could customize the header or each style of rows. This table would be also responsive. You could see the different design of table on each screen. There is no big difference. We just hide the column on smaller screen size. For example, on tablet screen, we hide the join column. On mobile, we only have name and link column. Our table also has table pagination and with back and next bottom. And on mobile view, we hide the next and back bottom. Okay, let's get started. We already have Node.js on my machine, and we also download and have Visual Studio Code. It's my favorite editor. It's very nice and it has many plugins. Okay, we are going to use Create React app to create a base project, React base project. You may know the React is very complicated configuration, Webpack configuration, and some other configuration. For this, we just copy the command and paste it. npx is very good CLI. It comes with npm, and you don't have to install Create React App CLI and then initialize a project with that. You need to type npx and create React app and the name of application. Let's see, I'm in the home directory. So we write npx create React app and the name of our project. We call it style-table and hit enter. We call it a style because we want to use a style-component library to style the React table. First of all, create a directory and then download the packages and install all packages that you need to run a React app. Okay, it's finished. And prompt that success created, and you can start the project with yarn or npm or whatever you want. And yes, you have to use yarn or npm. You can build it and test and eject. When you have some complicated Webpack config, you should eject the project, create React project, and apply your custom Webpack config. So we should navigate to style table, and now we open a project with Visual Studio Code. We can open the terminal with through the integrated terminal, and yeah, with npm run start we can start our project, and you could see other scripts as well. We have start, build, test, and eject. The start command run the React script start, and we have our project on localhost and this port, 3000 port. Okay, so now I want to change some directory and some files. On src, I'm gonna create new directory called components, and also I create another one called containers as well. We split our React component in two categories, components and container. In most case, the components would be like bottom, React, table, and so on, and the container would be our page, or our main section of application, like app and main app or about or something like this. On containers, we create app directory, we move these files, and also we rename the app to index, also the index test, and this. On index.js, we need to rename the CSS file, import, and as well move this. Okay, and also in on index.js, we also need to change the path of app container, and now we have our application. At this point, we want to configure follow.js. Follow.js is a static type checker for JavaScript, and we usually use in React. It's very friendly with React as well. You can go to the Flow.js org and hit the try button. Now you will see something like this. Actually, on Flow.js, we define the type of each function or arguments of function, and we can type, annotate, and type all of the React app. For example, we can define the type of state or action. In this very sample, you can see foo function get x as number. The question mark is consider the x would be null or would be a number, a valid number, and return the string. At this point, if x has value, return x. X is number, and the foo function expected be string. So we have some error, cannot return x because member of number 1 is incompatible with a string. So to fix that, we can change number to a string, get x as a string, return it, and if it's null, the default string would be returned. Create React app already support Flow.js, and you just need to add Fellow bean package as dev package, npm install flow bean dash dash save dev. The flow bean library is installed. At first, you need to run flow initialize, flow init, to initialize the project. So we type, we assume another script called flow npm run flow init, hit enter. Now we have an empty configuration, flow configuration, .flow config. We should ignore the node modules directory. So we type the node modules and dot this on every directory, ignore the node modules and every subdirectories. Now you can add the flow tag on each JS file. You could see warn cannot use component because we should define the props of component as well to something like this. We define props, empty props, and pass props. We can pass the state, in this case null, as a state. Also on this we could annotate flow and get element by ID, bind to container, and incompatible with elements. In flow you can also flow fix me to ignore some unimportant warning. Okay, so on flow, when you are using flow.js, you should have some other type definition. For example, later we gonna use style component, so we want to have the type definition of style component as well. There is a good CLI tool called flow-type. We should add it to our project. We add this CLI tool as dev dependency. Save dev. Now you can add a comment, because every time you install a library or package, you should run flow type and install whatever. Install some packages or the name of packages or install. So we add this command because the flow type is not globally installed. It installed on the node modules of this project as dev dependency. So we add a new command called update flow typed, and the command would be flow typed install, and to override the old type definition, we pass the override switch option. Okay, now save. Now we run the update flow typed, and found 5 dependencies and it search and then install it. Now we have it on flow type directory npm and 3 dependencies. Actually, we don't need to have flow bin or React script type definition because we don't import React scripts in our files, but it gets it. You could ignore it, but there is no problem with that. On JavaScript, there's lots of coding style. To have one distinct coding style in our project, we are going to install Prettier.js. We go to prettier.io web IO address. There's a very simple steps to install Prettier. First of all, we need to install Prettier as dev dependency. So now you run the Prettier because we want to prettify the our older JavaScript files as well. So we run npx prettier -- write and what files we want to prettify. We can pass the range. So we pass every directories on every directories, every files with JS syntax. So with prettify, you may notice that the import is double quote instead of single quote, and then you can run the Prettier when you commit, each time when you commit. For this action, you need to install Pretty Quick and Husky. I think it pronounce like this. You should also add pre-commit script to your package scripts. And when you commit the stage file, the Pretty Quick will be run all of the JS files. The Prettier has also a plugin. You could search the Prettier. I've already installed it, and it's very useful because you can prettify the JS file when you write something. For example, you write something like this, you have something like this. There's a shortcut or command on Visual Studio. Format document, when you press it, it's prettify our JS file. Style components is one of the best way or best tools to handle CSS in JS. For example, we define bottom with style component, and you can see we increase the border radius, and we have it on the React component. The style component actually return React component with style. You can write CSS as usual, and all of the pseudo class or something else, it works with style component. First of all, we need to add it to our project. npm install -style components. Now we have a style component in our dependencies. As you saw earlier, we need to run update-flow type command because we want style components flow type in our project. So npm run this command. This command install all of the flow type libraries that we use in our project. So now we have why? Oh, okay. We should use style component in our code and then run this command. So I want edit some styles. I want to remove it, and also on app component we remove normal CSS file, and then on index.js we modify our component in this way. Const app, we write a stateless component div and h2 hello world. Remove the unnecessary imports, and inside of this remove the. Okay, we run our project in development mode. Okay. We have hello world, it's normal without any CSS. Now we want to add some style to our container app div. On a style component we have to import it. Then we named a component. We define a name for that, style.div. You can have all other HTML tag like anchor tag or p tag, paragraph, or anything else. In this case we use div, and then backsticks. Backsticks are template function. So the div is actually a function, but in this way we can write easily. Now we can write CSS in normal way. For example, we write 100%, and the color would be red, and no, it's good, and the text line is center. So we replace div with main, and be careful to name with uppercase character, because if you write main, the error throw, the JS6 think that it's normal HTML tag, and there's no HTML tag with the main name. We don't have any HTML tag. Oh, I'm sorry. It's main, not it's main. Okay, it's okay. Okay, now we have hello world with color red. So we have error because flow can't resolve the style components module. So we should run that command, npm run update-flow type. Okay, now we have style-components types. And now you can see the errors. Reopen the error. Sometimes we have some problem with Flow.js because can't resolve the name, but I don't know why. But sometimes when you run again or close the editor and reopen it, you could see the error will disappear. I don't know why. Sometimes we have some problem with Flow.js. I don't know. Please let me check. Oh, the errors disappear. I don't know why, but the style component version is 3.3, and we installed the type, and now we add it. No, we don't have any error. I don't know. Sometimes have some problem with Flow.js. Okay, now we want to add some global style, because we add all of our style with style component, and these style are combined with bundle. For example, when you can see network, we hit refresh. Oh, npm run start. Okay, on bundle.js, we have style element. You could see the head and then some style on data-style-components. Okay, we have that style in this way. So normally you have some global style in your application, like normalized CSS or font style. For this reason, there is a way to define global style. I'm going to add a new directory called style. Then in that directory, I create a new file called global.js, and on global.js, I imported the inject global. There's a function on style components library that's called inject global. The inject global can take the global style, then you can import global.js in your app or main entry. So we just simply import the global style. Okay, for example, you have body or root ID, hide 100%, or background color would be green. And now we'll see background color. There's some preset style on browser. You should add the normalize styles. So we go to this URL, download it, and copy all of that. Normalize, copy, and then paste it. Okay. Okay, we have some problem because there's backsticks inside of these text. So we simply replace all of the backsticks with empty or with this, and also change the backstick at the end and this. Okay. Now we have normalize. You can hit refresh and you could see there is no any margin or padding. And then we could see we define root style. Height would be 100% because we want to have all of the height of. Okay, so y doesn't affect the root, and the inject global is HTML. And for HTML, do we have HTML? Yes, we have, but on the roots. Okay. The height of root is 100%. It's okay. But the container is not 100% because of that. Okay. So now we define global style in this way, and we also need to define the fonts, because in our sketch file all of the text is based on Open Sans font. I use Google Fonts, search Open Sans. It's a very good way to import fonts. It's free. Embedded, customize. You can customize. We want regular and bold. And now you can import it to your HTML, public HTML, index.html, and at the end of link we import it. And also we should edit the font family on global. Oh, I'm global. Oh, it's okay. So there is body, and we defined font family, and we can also font size 16, and I don't know, line height is 1.6 em or whatever. It's not important, but you can define margin 0 or line height. Okay, now in our web page we have Open Sans. Okay, we changed the font globally and then defined font family of body. So when you use a style component, you should use only style component as well, and import global styles in this way. Now I'm going to create the table component. So create new directory called table, and inside that new file index.js. We want to simple stateless component, and we add flow notation, import the style and style components. Okay, the table would be here. Now we want add this table inside the app. Okay, we should import the table components and table, then use it inside the app component between main. Okay, I forgot to run the project. So we have table. Now we should design our table based on the based on this design. Okay. So at first, remove the color and center align on the main. On the table, we have something like this. First of all, we need to design the header of table. We want to develop a customizable React table. So another developer can use this React component and configure the column. The column would be customizable. So we want to define some properties, some props to customize the table. First of all, we need to define our props with flow, and we can define columns. We want to have column data. For example, each column has label, each column has key, or has some specific attribute. For example, on join column, we should align all of the content center, or on the header, we should align it center. Or one column should have specific width, or one column should hide on some screen size. Okay, we can have an object-based key like this. For example, we have column, an empty object, then with each column has, or columns, each column has a key, then each column have some other property, like key would be a string, or label, the label of column would be name, or align property would be center or left, something like this. So we define it in this way. Column is an object, then object has some key, so we define key as string, and each key represents another object. This would be one column. So it has a key with a string type, label with string, but label is not required for all of the column. For the last column, we don't have any header label, so the label would be optional. We can define optional object property with question mark. If we put a question mark this side, the label accepts null and a string, but we assume that label is present or not. So the label property is optional, and we have some other property like align. The align is also optional, and the align would be center or right or left. The default is left, but we can't. Flow doesn't have any mechanism to define the default value on the type definition. So we handle it on style component, and void of that column. So the void would be also optional, and it's number. Okay. We have columns. Columns for configuration, the column of table. Now we need to have some data for our table. Data would be array of object. Okay. We define the types. We destruct the props for table stateless function, a stateless component, and the column data. Okay, it returns the something like this. So we should define the table, const table or t style table. We define the table. Void of table would be 100% full of our void. Then we replace the t. On the table we have t head, and inside of t head we have one row tr for the header tr, and inside of tr we have columns of header. So we can define a function like header columns. This function define, and this function would be return object.keys column. Because our columns are based on key object, we destruct our columns based on keys, then map it because we want to iterate all of the column. On the map we have key, and for each of these we want to represent a TD for each of name or email and so on. th, I'm sorry, the header. Const th is style.th, and the th have some properties. Now we have it, and inside of header we want to represent the label of each column. So we can label of each column. How can I access to that field? The column and the key dot label. Okay, this label is when it's null, returns. When it's not defined, return nothing. So we remove this, and yes, now we should pass the column props and data. Remove data for a while, but we want to define columns. Okay, we define columns as well. We have some key. Name is the key is name, and label is name, capital. We have also email. Key is and also we have number of orders. The key would be the same, and label is number of orders. Then we have join, and the key is, it's better to call join date. The key is the same, and the label is just join. And we have account detailed link, something like this. The key would be the same, but it doesn't have any label. Okay, we pass the column to table components, and now we can see the column of table: name, email, number of orders, and join. Okay, we should style these header, these th, sorry. So we would go there and grab some properties. The color would be something like this. It's better to define all of the color in one files, because it's very easy to change it if you want in the future. Colors, we define export const header color, and it's a string hexadecimal hex color, or export the const of would it be main color is, I think it's the same, yeah. So we have main color or text color. It's better to name it text color, and the font weight is bold. We have 700 weight for the font, and the font size is 18 So the th would be color, would be, we import the color text. Oh no, I don't save it. Text color, and it's imported automatically. The font size would be better, 18 pixel, and the font weight, sorry, font weight I okay is 700. Hit save, and we have column. It's better to add some margin to the main of app. Margin, some 8 pixel, or top 10, 20, 8, 0, and 8 pixel. It's better, or padding. It's more standard to add padding to the main other than margin. Okay. Now we want to add some props to our style component. Something like this. When we have align, we should align the th, the text of th. So text line property would be align, text align would be props, and props dot align. When we get the props dot align, but when we don't have, we have left as default. So for this th, we added, oh no, we have th, we should add the other property like align, and the align would be columns key dot align, and we also need to have wide for each header, for each th, and if we props dot wide, if we define, if we have wide, we have it as a number, so we need to add it side by side a pixel, and otherwise we have null or undefined. So we can use this syntax, because if we have wide, if we define wide, we have this, and this value is assigned or is assumed for wide. Okay, so we pass the wide, also column key dot wide, and yeah, we have some props. Props is not defined for th. Oh no, props. Why? Props or prop? Oh no, prop, sorry, prop, props, but we have prop. I don't know why. Let me see, we have props. We have props. Why? But in this case, we have props or prop. Okay, oh, sorry. I miss it. Okay, we have the new style for each th. So we can define join and something like this. We can specify email wide. For email, we can wide, I don't know, 100. So the wide is maybe should be greater than or something like this, 20 or okay. So we have header. Now we should add the rows. On this side we have t-body, and now we should represent the rows, each row of the table. So we define a function called rows. The rows would return the all of the table row. So we have rows, and on the table we have a property called data. The data should be array of object. It's items of that table. Okay, we want to define some data, table data, or we can call it users. The user is array of object. Each user has ID. The ID is would be number or string or quit. Each user has a name, full name, email, number of order, join, and ID, and also has image, profile, URL. So we define ID1 and the name would be the email would be it's my public email. If you have some problem, you can email me. And number of orders, we use the same. Its number would be, I don't know, 30. And join date would be, 3 days ago. It would be, it can be, I don't know, a string, and then you can convert it to some data as well with other. Okay, now we have three users. We pass by data users, and on the table components we have rows. Now we should iterate. We should iterate the column. Then for each column we have for each user we have a row, and for each rows we have some TD. Now we should represent the row for the rows. We define tr or row, it doesn't matter, tr, style.tr. The tr would be R1 row, and return it the row. And for each row we have I don't know, we can something like this, object dot keys, because we want to iterate the columns dot map key, and on this map we return each cell. So we define the cell of TD, we can name it cell, and this function would should return the one cell of each row. For example, for the email column would return me @8honey.com text. So we define another component, style component, like td styled td, and on td we have some custom style. We leave it for now, the td and the td. Okay, now we have it, the value of that cell. How can I get to this value? Now for each row we call the cell, and we can pass the item and key. The item would be the user in this case, and the key is column key. Now we have item and the key. We can access to the item and the key. Okay, now there's a problem. Why? Because okay, and the item, we don't have item. The item would be I'm so sorry, because for each rows we should iterate for the rows, not the columns, because it's rows. So we have to data dot map and item. Now we want to pass the row, so item, and now we should define a one row. So the row would be something like this, or we can replace it to this and remove it. The row would be tr, and Now for each row we have iterate the column. Object dot keys column and map the key and cell item. We have item and key. Okay. Now let's see. Oh, woo. We have our table, the column, email, number of orders, and joined. But it's way too far with this style. So we need to, first of all, we need to add some space between header and t-body. On the table, we couldn't get a space with adding some margin top or something like this, because you can't add margin to the tr. We should make the margin or the white space with t-body. With this technique, I get it inside the Stack Overflow post before, and the content would be, it doesn't matter, display block, and line hit would be 6 AM. The color transparent. Now we have, I don't know why, t-body. Do we have t-body? Yes. On the t before and the content. Oh no, content block. Okay. Now we have some space between header and rows. Okay. For each row, we have some style. For example, for each row we have a border. That border is 2 pixel think weight, and the color is this with 50 opacity. So we want to define the color with RGBA, and RGBA is one of the feature of CSS. You'd better to use a polished library to define RGBA or some CSS functions. Now you add this library, this package. I don't know, we call it package, library, or it's the same. We have polished on our dependencies, but when you run the update-flow type, the flow type can't find the polished flow type, reference type, type definition. You can't have polished for type definition in this way. You have to add a file like libflow.js, and inside of this file you declare the polished module polished, and in this way. Declare and module dot exports would be any. Now you ignore all of the errors for polished, and you should add lib flow on the libs section. Lib flow JS. Okay. Now we can easily use polished. Polished and RGBA on TR. We would define border dot bottom 3 pixel solid and 2 pixel or 3 pixel? 2 pixel. And the color would be RGBA, and the number is 151, and the 54 opacity. Yeah, is it true? Yeah. Oh no. No problem. We can always hit the shortcut of JS Prettier and format all of our codes as well. So we add the border, but we can't see. Why? Let's add the height of the TR. The height would be, I don't know, 73, and oh, our project is not running. npm run start. Okay, now our table is not a pixel. The height would be 73 pixel, but there is no border because we should define the border collapse. I don't know how to spell, to collapse. And now we have the border. Okay, cool. Now we have some problem because on the cell we have item key, but sometimes our table or the cell, for example, the name cell, it's not the text only, it's custom content that represents the avatar of user and the name of user. So we need to add another property called content. The content would be optional, first of all, and the content would be function because we want to return something. So the content would be function, and we should pass item to that content. Let's see. For example, on the app for the name, we define content in this way. We have item, and we can define some custom name column with the style div. This column. Now we change. We only change the color thread and return this style component, and between of that it's item.name. Okay, now we should get the content for that cell and check it. If there is content, represent the content, return the content. If it's not, return the item key. So first of all, we need to check the content. So it's better to define another function called content, and this content get item. Or no, there's no difference. We can check it. We can have it something like this for simplifier. The function if column dot key dot contents, or if column with that key dot content have some value, we should return the that function dot content and pass the arguments with item, or we can use with this as well. Oh no, in arrow function we don't have this. It's better to pass item. Or pass it the item, or we can dot apply and null and the item. Okay. Otherwise, we have same as before, item key. Okay. Now we have content, and inside of content we pass the key and item. Okay. We can also replace this, but it's better for simplifying that. Okay, we have some errors. It say cannot read property name of undefined, where the item dot name. The item would not the content is okay, and for the key name we have it, apply. This way. So, oh no. Oh yeah, it's okay. We we shouldn't use apply, because that content is arrow function key, and on arrow function key we don't use apply, because of arrow function key usually gets the this from the outside, and in this case we should just pass the arguments to the content function, because the content would be function as well, and we can simply pass the item to the function. Okay, now we can have custom TD. Okay, in this case we for the name column we want to have avatar, so we add avatar component, avatar and index.js. We have stateless avatar. We have flow as well. Import the styled component and const. For the avatar, we have two type of avatar. Avatar has image or doesn't have image. Okay. So the image would be img tag style component, and no image would be div, simple div. The props of avatar would be size of avatar. It's optional. Should be number. And image path or URL is better, is the string. It's require. And props size URL. And also, if there is no URL, we want to represent the first letter of username. So we should have name as well, and the default size. So name. The default size would could be 40. Now we check it. The URL. If URL is not equal to is empty. If it's empty, we should represent the no image component. The no image component has the name dot substr, the from 0 to 1. If the name is Ahmad, we can grab A, and dot to uppercase because we want to uppercase the name of that user. And otherwise we have URL, so we can show the image. The image has RC. This RC would be URL, and okay, it's good. Or we can add alt with fill it with name. Now we should add some attributes. The void would be props or size. Because it's circle, the void and height would be the same, should be the same, and it's the same for height, and it's also the same for div. We have border radius. Radius is 50% because we want to have circle. And for no image, we have background color. Color would be gray. We have a nice gray, some like text color. Text color. Add text color from style. No. Style and colors. Text color. The line height of that no image would be the same size because we want to center that, and text line would be center. Okay. We should pass image is okay, and we should pass the size because we use size props in styled components. We pass size. We also should pass size. Okay, we have avatar. Now on the content function, we use avatar as well. Import the avatar, and the avatar would be now avatar. Inside name column, we have, it's better to enter to the next line, and now avatar. Okay, we pass URL with item.url, and name would be item.name, and pass the item.name. Okay, our user doesn't have don't have URL, so add URL to URL with empty string now, because we want to the default. Okay, Ahmad, and something like this. The color, we remove the color because the red color is not good. On the avatar, the color of no image, the text color, it's better to be white, and it's better to have this inside the flex box, display flex, and on flex size, flex direction, it's default row, but line items would be center. Now we want to have some margin, so we can define name, and the name is span. Oh, sorry, span. Span, and margin dash left 8 pixel. We wrap this to name style component. Okay, now on a style component there's a trick, because sometimes you want to change the avatar or that component style, or even you want to add some props. You can always get other properties with 3-dot arcs, destructuring arcs, and pass these others to that style component. Okay, now you can have it. Let's grab my image URL. I'm going to my Twitter account, twitter.com/atahani. Inspect my picture, and the URL would be this. So on user data, we replace the URL with this. Okay, now we have our user image inside the avatar. Okay, we also need to have some links at the end of table. Now, I usually use SVG icons. So there's a very good website, I want to Google it, material icon design. I think something like this. Okay, this material design icons. We want this icon, the account detail account. Okay, we search account. Come on. Account. Okay, account card detail. Each icon has SVG optimize. Hit click and the SVG will be downloaded. We open it with Visual Studio Code. There is a SVG optimize SVG. The view box is this, and the width and the height would be 24, and the path would be this. Okay, in our example, we have some other SVG like this: shown left, shown right, and we need to develop a SVG icon component, because we have some common things between these SVG icon. Okay, for this reason, I create another component called SVG icon, and on the SVG icon we have we have a stateless React component called SVG icon. We added flow, import the style and style components. Now we have SVG. Our SVG is SVG. Our icon has some props like color would be optional, because we can define a default color for SVG icon. Its string size would be number, and the most important props is children. The children is inside of SVG that we want to represent the path of SVG. The children type is node. The node type is come from React node, and type React. The size would be optional, Oh, yes. And we have also view box. The view box is also a string and optional. Now we destruct the props, children, color. It's by default it's black, and the size by default is 24. The view box is by default is 0, 0, 24, 24, because the most optimized icon, especially this icon, would be the view box is 0, 0, 24, 24. Okay, we remove x16 the SVG. We have SVG, and we have children inside of SVG. But we also should pass the arguments like color and size and view box. And now we have to wide would be props backsticks props.size pixel, and it's the same for height. And for color SVG, there's an attribute called fill, and we pass that color as to fill. Now we have SVG icon with this. Okay, there's problem. There's problem. No. Unexpected token at the color. Oh no, the unexpected token would be this. Okay, now we define a default value for our props. Children color would be where is it? And type destructuring. Why? Oh no, we have switch. Okay, I miss this. Okay. Now we can have we can add SVG icons easily. On components, I'm going to add SVG icons, and inside icons I can add account detail.js. This account detail.js would be a React component that's built from SVG icon. Okay, the account detail icon, and it's at flow. Wow. No, not style. Import the SVG icon and SVG icon. Now return we pass the colors or something else from props others, and now we have a path, the path of that SVG. Okay, the path of that SVG is between okay, is this It's the path of that SVG. And we also pass others props. So if our user define color for account detail icon, the color would be passed to SVG icon, and the color would be passed to that SVG style component and fill this attribute. Okay, now we want to use this icon, this SVG icon, account detail, into our last column. Okay, this is our last column. Each column has property called content. The content has item attribute, and it return the content of that column. Now we add account icon and components, SVG icons, account icon, or account detail, sorry, account detail, and you can account icon and return it. It's the color would be, I don't know, the primary color. Our primary color is some green. We add that color, export counts primary color, and we import it as color primary. Oh no, primary. Why? Colors primary. Haha. Why? Primary color. And we pass primary color to that icon. Now we can see it. Okay, we had it. But there's a problem because the icon, it's not clickable because it's not bottom. So we add bottom account detail, or we can ABTM, short name, bottom, and that bottom, or link, or even link. It's better link to be link or bottom. There's no difference. Cursor would be pointer, and that bottom, wrap it this icon. On onclick event, we can define it some function, a function. It would be console.log, the item.name, something like this. Okay. Now we can click on each item. Oh, there's a we have a warning because on iterator we should pass the key props. On the table, let's close all of that. On the table, we have some iterator, something like this. For each row, we have item.id because we know each item, each user has ID, but we can customize this ID as well. And for the cell, we have TD. For each TD, we can key the key. For the content, no. For the headers, we also map and we have many th, so we need to define key prop and we pass key. Okay, now we have no error. Okay, it's better to enter all of this or not. There's no important. It doesn't important. It's okay. We have some problem. Why we have for the bottom, I think background transparent and border none. Okay, we add two attribute to our bottom. Okay, now sometimes we need to have some customized CSS like this. In this table, in this case, we want to specify 73 pixel for height of each row, but in other use case, we want to reduce it. For example, so we want to customize our row. On table, we can define another props called row config, and a row config is the object. Row config has a property. That object has a property called unique. Unique. Unique key. It's a string, and CSS. The CSS would be a string. It's optional. Okay, the unique key is good for item.key, item.id, because maybe on other data types, I don't know, there is no ID unique key, and we can define it as we want. So we destructuring the row config, and row config has unique key and CSS. The unique key would good for unique key, and the unique key we can set as ID set as default for unique key. For the CSS, okay. On a style component, we can pass the CSS and then represent the CSS to that style component. For example, for row, we can pass the CSS like this, CSS row. Then on tr, because we pass to the tr, then on tr, we can have something like this, props.css. If props.css is present, we want to have these CSS. The CS on style component, we have a function called CSS, and the CSS get the normal CSS that can be between two backsticks, template function, two backsticks. So we pass the CSS like this, and if it's not present, we can return nothing. Or we can use this syntax. We replace the question mark with this, because if it's true, then return this. Now we remove hide from the tr directly, and then pass it to, oh no, I cannot read property Unicode. Okay, because unique key we don't define the unique key. Okay. Row config. The row config would be const row or config and unique unique key would be ID, and the CSS is something like this. Okay, we pass it row config, and okay, so we have some, for tr we have customized CSS. Now our table are customizable, because another user, another developer can use this table, config the CSS rows, and so on. For example, we can also define hover precede code, precede class, because when user hover the row, it should filled with this RGBA. 216, 2016, this. Okay. We can background dash color, RGBA, and import RGBA from polished. And 260, and would it's 20 there. Now we have something like this, but the opacity is too high. the hover, maybe it's better to, or the or the opacity would be, it's better to something like this. Oh no. No, it's refresh again, hover and reduce the opacity, and then grab the color. Okay, we can also have custom CSS like this. For each column we can also do this. For example, we can add a CSS string, and it's optional, and also can add CSS header, because sometimes we need to have some other standard of CSS for each header. Okay, and then pass it like before. For th we can have it CSS and pass it column for th header, and for TD. Where's TD? For TD CSS. Now for TH we can have props dot CSS. Or we can copy paste these, and for TD as well. Now I missed for TD. Each TD would be font size 18, and the color is the same, so we can add font size as well, 70 pixel. Okay. Now sometimes you want to override this font size. You can define, for example, for email CSS and font or not. Font size would be, I don't know, 10 pixel. 10 pixel. You can do whatever you want with CSS. And okay, it's good. We also need to have handle the onClick event for each row, because maybe we want to handle onClick event for each rows. For this reason, you have to define the onClick attribute. The type is function, and for the row tr, we would define the onClick attributes. OnClick, would it be, and destructuring click. We can also pass the item event and item. So we need to define event and pass it to onClick. Now on app, we can have it onClick e and item, and we can say console.log the row with item has been clicked, the item. Okay, now check it. Okay, it works. It works pretty good. We don't use RGBA. It works pretty good. Okay. Now we are going to responsive our table. As you can see on tablet screen, the join column is hidden, and on mobile screen we only have name and the account detail column. So we need to define some property on column to configure hide on tablet or on mobile and so on. First of all, we want to show you the media query on style component. For example, for tr, we can define some media query max wide would be for example, I don't know, 70 pixel, background color red. Now when you reduce the size of screen would be red. Okay, but we use uh, this words or this sentence many times. So we can define some utility to write easier. On style directory, we're going to add another file called util, and on util I paste some codes. The codes would be would it be size? Size, we define different size of device. Giant would be this wide. Desktop, tablet, and phone. Screen smaller than. We define a function with the name screen smaller than, because when we define max wide and define some CSS rule for max wide, the max wide would be apply this style to smaller than screen. So we use object.keys to iterate all of the keys of size, then reduce it to accumulator and label. The accumulator, it return the an object that for each property, it's the function. The function gets the args, and the args is would it be template function. The args will be passed to CSS, and the max void is em. We calculate the em size based on the label, giant, desktop, and so on, divided by 16, because em is based on size. The font size of our body is 16, and return accumulator. Now on the table we can use screen smaller than, but we also need to add some property to our columns, something like this. We design our table for giant, for the bigger screen, but we want to hide some column when the screen become smaller. So we can define hide on desktop. It's Boolean. We can also define hide on tablet. Sorry, Boolean. And hide on phone. Okay. And for each row, each column, th and td, we should handle these props. First of all, we should pass these props. For example, for th, we can pass hide on desktop. Would it be hide on desktop and hide on tablet? And hide on phone. Okay. Now we have something like this. We copy for TD as well. And now on TH and TD, we define these rules. Okay, we have screen smaller than dots. Now we have desktop, giant, and so on. For desktop, we define it props, if props.hide on desktop. If it's true, have this style, display none. Okay, and for screen smaller than tablet, props hide on tablet, display none. Okay, and one more time for phone, hide on phone, come on, phone, display on. Okay, props, not props, props. Now we should define some property for our columns. The join should be hide on tablets. So hide on tablet become true. Okay, on this the join should be hide, and for the mobile the number of order and email should be hide. Number of order hide on phone true, and for email it's also true. Okay, now we reduce the size. The header would be disappear, but the TD is not disappear because we don't write these rules for TD as well. Copy all of this for TD. Now we reduce the size. The join will be disappear, and if we reduce the size to phone, very small, we have only the name and the color. Okay. The other developer can customize these variable as well, and it's very good practice because we have it. Okay, the property hide on phone is missing. Why? Because we assume as require. Okay, all of the errors will be disappear because all of these are optional. In our design, we have pagination. And for pagination, we also need React Router DOM because user click page 2 should navigate to page 2. For example, we on the router we have manage user page, or we can pass the page with query string as well, question mark page equal 1, 2, and so on, and then we get the data. So at first we also need shown the to something like this for next and back link bottom. I add some more user to our data samples to reach the item to 10. Then we want to add the React router DOM, and also run npm update. What is the update follow type? Because we add new package and we need the flow type, the predefined flow type of that package. Now the React router DOM is installed, and I don't know why there is no React router. We run it again. Oh, because we don't use in our code. I made this mistake twice. Oh no. On the index, we have app, and it's better to write the routes inside of app and separate the user with app. Okay, on the container we add users container. The user container is stateless React component, and that flow. Okay, on app we need to move all of this to the users. So grab all of this, or we can simply copy and then rename the app to users. So yes, we have users, and for the app we simply create app, then flow. We need React router DOM. We need to browser router switch and route, because in app each switch should be wrapped with browser router, and the switch has a route. The route would be path of a slash to component. Would it be router or route? I don't know. We can check it. Users and okay. Now we have problem. We run the update flow typed. Okay. Why React router DOM? We install it package. Yes, we have it. Why? Okay, this type here. We have the route. Let's check it. Now on route slash we have this user like before, but now we handle it with React Rotterdam. Okay, there's no error. On the table, we should also pass some information about total items and the total page. Okay. Sometimes we need to have total items, but most of REST endpoint give the information about current page, total page, and something like this. So we define this attribute for table. The first attribute would be current page, its number. The second, total pages number, and when you click on a the pagination, maybe you have some other URLs. For example, you have some filters and do some filtering on the table and have some query string on the URL. So on each page link, you need to have a base page link. We define an attribute called page link, and it's a string. Okay. Now, our table component, it's too long, and it's better to split the table pagination with table. So I'm going to add a new component called table pagination, and on table pagination we have a stateless component like before. And on a stateless function, we want to represent the page like this: 1, 2, 3, and the next, and back. Okay. Each of these square, it's 30 pixel, and the color, it's primary, and the other is active primary, and the other is the color is primary, but the opacity would be 25. The background opacity would be 25. So we can define the color and export secondary color. We can also use polished, because we want to use RGBA. The RGBA is a function that gets the RGBA value 0, 150, 0, 150, 160, 36, and the opacity value is 25. Okay, the secondary color. On the pagination, we assume that each each of these is a bottom link. So we are going to use link component from the React router DOM, and its link component. On style components, we can extend the style of that other component like this. Page to link. We can styled and pass link. Now the width of would be 3 pixel, the height of would be 3 pixel, and line, because we want to center the number, line height would be 3 pixel. The font size would be 60.5 pixel, 16.5, and font weight, it's bold, but is it okay? Yeah, I misspelled. Oh, I can't type. It's this, and it depends on page is active or is not active. If it's active, the color, the text color should be white, and if it's not active, the color should be primary, and the background should be secondary color. Okay. Add the colors, style colors, and the color should be primary, secondary. We have props.selected, and if it's selected, we have the color should white, and the background color should be primary, and if it's not selected, the color is primary, and the background color, background color is secondary color. Okay, now we have the table pagination have some props. The props is like before. We can just copy paste that property, these props, and current page, total page, and base page link. Now it's better to define the main, because we have some items, elements, it's side by side. We can use flex, main, style.div, and display is flex, The flex by default, it's on the flex direction is row. It's okay. And align item center. For page link, we should define some margin. It's great to be space between 8 pixel, and we define elements with array, and at the end we return elements in between of arrays. So these elements should be the pages. For this action, we should create a loop. The index would be it's I, and the array and the condition should be total page. The item, we start from 1, so the item I equal 1, and our condition should be less than or equal. Now we want to push the new item. We already create a page link. We pass the page link as well. Between page link, we have item to represent the page link 1, 2, 3, represent the value. We pass the selected. When it's selected, when the I is equals the current page. Now elements and this. Now we have table pagination. We should use it inside the table, and on table we have only table. So we need to define a main style component, something like this. Const main styled.div, and display is flex. Flex direction should be column because the flex grow in column, and it's okay. The main, we wrap it to the main, and now at the end we want to have table pagination. We add it table pagination. I don't know the spelling is okay or not. Google, I don't know. Maybe, oh, pagination without double G. So I rename all of this table, haha, and table. Okay, it's okay, and now we add it to, we should also pass the props, something like current page, total pages, and base link. Now we pass it all through the table pagination, current page, total page, oh no, pages, and base link page, base page link, base page link. So now we have table pagination on our grid. Why it's not appear? Pager on table pagination. We read the elements dot push I1 page link and return the main. The main, would it be? I don't know why. You should inspect the table and the table. Doesn't have any void and doesn't have any, because we don't define total page and base page link, but there's yes, we have some errors. Okay, the current page link is 1 and the total page is 10, and the base page link would be something like this. Okay, now we have some error. Why? Because each link on React Router should have a path. So on page link, you should define 2. We just leave it. Oh, okay. We have this. It's not good as that we want. The 2 would be the base page link, plus the question mark page equal the I, because when you click you should navigate to that page. And selected is okay. The page link would also be the radius 6, and would it be text declaration, decoration would be none because we don't have underscore on. And also border radius 6 pixel. All of this text align should be center, and also it's good to have some margin top 20 pixel or something more. Then when you inspect through the pagination, we can also justify content center. It's okay. We have a problem. Okay, we don't pass the key prop. The key prop in this case would be I. It's okay to be I. And now the page is this. We should also pass the something like we click on page 2, the query string will be changed, page equal to. We should take this query string and then pass it to current page. On users, we use React router. So on each route that connected to the route, we have a location. You can also use the React router documents. If you search location, location is object, and it has location is object, it has search, and we need exactly the search because we need query strings. We define the types. Types is location is object, and location. Okay, on the location, let's see what we have. Return and console.log location.search. Okay, we have question mark page 2. To extract these to split these string to query string, we have a method in modern browser called URL search param. This is a function. It's a function. So we should new, and we can const params, then pass the location.search. Now if you log the params, you could see the page. Okay, you could see URL search param, but the params has I think it's the key map. Yes, it's map. It's key value base up key value. It's map on JS, so we can define current page like this. If params.has the page query string, you should parse int then params get page. Otherwise, we pass 1. Okay. Now, when you click, the current page would be different. So we have the same behavior as we expected. Okay. Remove this. Okay. Now we want to have this 3 dots. We don't want to display all of the page links, so we omit it and put 3 dots. For for this, we should have some rules. For example, we should check if the current page is 1 or if the current before that we should check something. If the total page less than or equal 1, we should return null, because we have one page, and for one page we don't need to have table pagination. Okay, it's very clear. And for this we have current page equal 1, or if current page if current page is 1, or current page is equal I, we have we should add the page. Otherwise we check some other condition. Now we need to define 3 dots. So it's better to copy the earlier codes, because this video takes too long, and we grab the 3 bullets style. So simply define strong, because the 3 bullet is big and the font size is 20 pixel, the color would be gray, and we have this condition for each. Okay, we have some condition. Page link, and we have a variable called let put bullet. It false because we put bullet only once. So in this condition we check if don't put bullet yet, and the total page greater than 3 elements.length is also greater than 1. It means we have at least 1 element. We push the 3 bullets to the elements and check the put bullet to true, because we don't want to execute these lines of for loop. Okay, it refresh. Total page is undefined. Total page. Oh no. No problem. We should total page or total page. No, page. Total page and total page. Okay, so now we have 3 bullets, something like this. Maybe have some bug, but it works. You can improve it. And also, Let's copy the Shrown link. The Shrown, would it be the next and back link? Copy the style. And also copy the push, because we check if the total page greater than 3, we put Shrown link as back, first back, and the 2, the path is base page link, and the page, current page, -1, because we want to -1 current page, and it's disabled when the current page equals 1, because when it current page equals 1, the back should be disabled. Don't have page 0. And the shown left is the icon that we already defined, like before, like icon detail. We have a switch icon with a path inside that. We should just define the shown. I don't know. I get tired. Shown link. Switch icon, shown left, and also now you can see the backlink. Oh, I don't know. I don't have the shown left. I don't have the screens smaller, because on the shown link we use screen smaller than function, because on the mobile view we don't have the actual back text. So simply add the util total page should be also page elements should be defined. Okay. Now we have backlink. And on page 1, the backlink is disabled. Okay. We also can add the right shown and the next at the end of this. Right. Switch icon, chef, right. And the page. Oh, okay. And the page. Okay. We have it. Okay. It works like chair. Okay. And our tutorial is going to end. I'm really sorry about my poor English. Maybe I say some maybe I made some mistake, because it's my first video tutorial in English, and I live in Isfahan, Iran country, and we don't have any chance to speak with native person. So my English, I want to record some videos to improve my English. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks again. Goodbye.